Today we're going to be talking about the Shadow of Kyoshi by F.C. Yee. So if you did not see my last review of the first book, The Rise of Kyoshi, go ahead and give that a watch, because there I talk about the first novel and how amazing it is and how you should go read it. So go watch that, go read the book, then come back and watch my review of the sequel. So this is not only a sequel, it is the conclusion to this series. It's a nice quick duology. I read it in a weekend. That was Saturday, this was Sunday. That fast, that quick. I inhaled these books. So the Shadow of Kyoshi picks up either a year, maybe two, I'm not exactly, there's a time jump between the first and second books. And so you get to see Kyoshi kind of like really come into her own as a character and as the avatar, because in the first book she was a little bit more vulnerable, a little bit more scared. And in this book, she's very intense. She is you know, on her way, very much so, to becoming the Avatar Kyoshi that we know and love from the original show. And that was wonderful to see. And the main plot of this book takes us into the Fire Nation, which was phenomenal. The Fire Nation is so great, and I didn't really talk about her in my first book review because I didn't want to do spoilers, but if you're here, you already know what happens. You already know. She bisexual. My girl, she bi, and that's her girlfriend. Look at her. They're badasses. That's Kyoshi and that's Rengi. Probably my favorite couple in all of Avatar. They are just wonderful. They're amazing. I love that Kyoshi is so sure of herself, and there's never like any question, like not once, like you're gay, you like a girl, like there's like maybe one or two comments like but okay, like no, it's not a big deal at all. And I love that. It was normal. Kyoshi was like, I'ma do it, and she did it. And that kind of rap is like the stuff I love, because it had no real impact on like the plot. Like, you know, they didn't go through this whole big breakup and we're like, nah. But like, it was a real relationship. It meant stuff to the characters, but it wasn't some bullshit love triangle or anything like that. Anyways, I got sidetracked. Let's talk about Fire Nation. So we went to the Fire Nation in this book, and we got to see a lot of the customs and their traditions, and it was very interesting, because after finishing this duology, I immediately went back and I rewatched Avatar: The Last Airbender, and there's a moment in Avatar: The Last Airbender which it feels, there's a certain moment when something happens with Zuko and Iroh, and they do something and you're kind of like, okay. And you don't really, you're like, that's cool for you guys, but like, I don't really understand the significance of it. And then you read this book and you're like, holy shit, there was so much significance, so much weight in what happened right then. I will give you guys a hint. Season 2, first episode, when they get a haircut. Yeah, that's a big deal. And this book tells you why. Anyways, beyond, you know, referencing the show, this book is just a fascinating story, like in its own right, because the conflict set up in the first book is coming to a conclusion, and it does that almost perfectly. Like, I wish this book was a little longer, because it was about 100 pages shorter than the first novel, which was great because, you know, like, I don't want a story with a lot of extra fat. However, I feel like this book could have used an extra 100 pages because I wanted to know more. Like, it's not a bad thing. I just like wanted more. Like, what we got was great, but I feel like there was an opportunity for us to dive a little bit more into the Fire Nation, a little bit more into some of the other things that happen. And I wasn't left disappointed at the end of this book, but I also wasn't left as wowed as I was after I read the first novel. I felt very satisfied with the conclusion of this duology. However, it also really made me want a third book, and a fourth book, and a fifth book. And like, I think this could be a phenomenal series. To me, this second book felt like a stopping point. Like, okay, this is, you know, gonna be the end of Kyoshi's origin, but it didn't feel like the story was quite over. Like, the story that these two books set out to tell is done. Like, that plot, that antagonist, those events that all happened, they're all pretty much wrapped up by the end of this second book. However, there's a lot more hinted at and a lot more implied that Kyoshi's gonna have to deal with in the future, and I want to see that more than anything. And so I really hope that this book sells well, that it gets like good reactions to the series. I hope it gets like an animated series. I hope it gets more books because I love what FC Yi has done. Like, I didn't talk about this in my first review, and I feel like I should have, but FC Yi as a writer is phenomenal, specifically like with these stories, because it must have been really hard for another writer to come in and play around in Avatar: The Last Airbender, which is one of the most beloved like franchises ever, and then have to tell an original story. I think Mike and Brian guided him a little bit with like the lore and stuff, but wow, like, it fits seamlessly. Like, there was never a question that I was in this world. Like, sometimes, you know, with tie-in novels, things like that, there's quite a disconnect between the material that you love and then this like book that you're reading. But these feel like they've always been a part of Avatar, and we are just now just getting the story. It was like that seamless. And so I really want FCE to work more within the Avatar world. Like, it doesn't even have to be Kyoshi. I want it to be Kyoshi, but like, even like Avatar Kurek, or Yang Chen, Roku, even Aang and Korra. Like I seriously just really want more from this author, specifically in the Avatar universe, because I thought they did an amazing job. I would give Shadow of Kyoshi about a 4 out of 5. I might bump it up to a 4.5 because I really enjoyed it as like a conclusion, but there was just something lacking for me where I feel like a little bit more weight and a little bit more time spent in this book would have really benefited the narrative. It is a little bit more lean and mean than its predecessor, but I wanted to linger in the world a little bit longer, and so yeah, it just sits more at a 4 than a 5. More maybe in between, but like definitely at a 4. That's my review of The Shadow of Kyoshi by FCE. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Comment below what books I should be reading next. And if you want to see more from me and my channel, and you know what books and things I'm going to be reviewing next, then please don't forget to subscribe. Thanks guys. Peace.